Welcome to Sports Medicine on Tap. My name is Brandon O'Line. I'm sitting at Neck of the Woods Brewing Company in Pittman, New Jersey with my good friend Dr. Frey. Dr. Frey, how you doing?
Spectacular.
Fantastic time here. Before we go ahead and get started tonight, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Virtual Orthopedics and Spine. From runner's knee to dog walker's hip to yard work back and lap toppers, they have a doc for that. So find the right specialist for you at virtual.org/ortho. Also, if you folks can, give us a follow, like, and a subscription, if you will, on YouTube and Instagram. We appreciate it. Sports Medicine on Tap. Check us out. Give us a little bit of a little boost in our following. We'd appreciate it. So here we are, and now it's crazy to say in out loud. It's December.
I know.
Already here.
Yeah.
How's your Thanksgiving?
Feels like December.
No,
Yeah.
it's cold.
Thanksgiving was great. So we traveled. We were out in Chicago, and the Thanksgiving portion of it equation itself, spectacular. Food was amazing. Really good times. Nice. Saw family and everything. Getting to and from, not so amazing. Right? Like getting out there was a little bit challenging, but not terrible. We our flight back was on Saturday.
Oof.
The single snowiest November day in Chicago history. How we got out, I don't know. It wasn't quick and it wasn't easy, I'll tell you that. And,
Historic trip.
Historic trip, yeah. Credit to United for getting us on the plane and getting us home safely.
Thank God, right?
Yeah.
Thankfully, everything went smoothly in that regard. And I did the opposite of what you did. I went to one house, didn't house hop, didn't do multiple places.
That's the way to go.
My aunt's house, home. The following day, I got with my dad's side of the family, went to my uncle's house, had leftovers, and watched the Eagles' terrible game.
Yeah.
And so it was good. My wife and I were like, let's not go crazy and travel with two kids, like multiple places, with my youngest son only being 1 year old. I was like, let's just keep it simple.
Life is a lot better when you do that. I know.
Man, I tell you what, it was the first time in a while outside of the last couple of years when I hosted it. We didn't go much anywhere. We just went to one spot, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. Do you know what the ribbon is? Most people don't. I didn't know until I was out there.
The ribbon?
Yeah.
No.
So it's very cool. We need one here in Philly, to be honest with you. So in Chicago, downtown Chicago is Millennium Park, and in Millennium Park they have an ice skating, loosely termed ice skating rink, but it's not a rink. It's like an ice skating trail, and it's like a circle, but it weaves around the park, and like you go up a hill and you go down a hill.
Oh,
and
no way.
Yeah, and like in the middle they have a climbing wall, which is closed right now in the middle of the winter. Even though it's not the middle of the winter, but and then but then there's a huge TV set up, and of course we were there during the Chicago Eagles game, so the game's playing, people stop, watch a game for a few minutes.
That's cool.
Then you start skating. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And I don't know if the holdup is the fact that it needs to be colder than it is in Philly. It's not that far off from the way it is in Chicago, but it's a really cool thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, I would imagine keeping an ice rink is cold or iced is easier than a trail.
That's exactly right.
That makes sense. And with hills and stuff, I can see that.
It's pretty wild. I don't understand how they Zamboni it between.
Yeah, right. How do they get that? You just go out there with a brush or something simple?
Right. I don't get it. Or is some guy driving around the whole thing? I don't know. It's very cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So tonight's topic of discussion. We decided to do a Thanksgiving recap, which we already started on a personal level. But, I think it was an interesting weekend for the NFL because you had 3 games Thursday, 1 game Friday, and then, you had Sunday and then Monday night. So you had just so many days, just so much football, which is great to watch.
I know.
But with that comes a bunch of injuries.
Yes, it does. We have a great topic coming up. Can't do today. Hopefully you're away next week, right?
Yep.
So hopefully 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a good topic on the horizon. Yeah. But we'll put that one aside. We'll talk about it then.
Yep. Yeah, so tonight we're going to start with the Eagles' upcoming opponent, if you will.
Yeah.
They're playing the Los Angeles Chargers. I almost said San Diego. Wow.
I know.
Such a knee-jerk reaction to do that, right?
Yeah.
On Monday night, which makes this a very interesting topic of discussion, Justin Herbert went down. They didn't play Sunday night. They played Sunday afternoon, I think, in the 4 o'clock games.
Yeah.
Went down with a hand injury on his non-throwing hand, which is the big blessing with this, right? If a quarterback fractures his throwing hand, likely done. It's a much different story. So he fractured his left hand. He took an odd tackle. I sent you the video this morning. It looked like he kind of got hit with the helmet directly on his hand first, and then in the tackle, spun over and hit his hand again on the ground.
Yeah.
What caused the injury? I assume the helmet most of the time.
Probably.
Usually hands don't win against helmets one-on-one like that.
Right.
So he goes down, comes out of the game, goes into the back, goes in the locker room, comes out with his big old stiff white glove on. And you could tell he was very stiff and mobile, but, he could barely move his fingers a little bit. They, from a couple of reports I read, they just kind of did like a quick cast in the locker room, gloved it up, let him go back out there after, I don't know, 2 series maybe of Trey Lance. And
Right.
he kind of came back in the middle of an offensive series there. And then reported that. So that was Sunday. Today's Tuesday. So Monday, he had surgery on said broken hand.
Right.
And now is apparently, from what NBC Sports Philadelphia had on the screen before we started, is that he's playing on Monday.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, 7 days out of surgery.
So disclaimer, right? Like first, we're recording the show on Tuesday night, so there may be more information by the time we post it. That's number one. Number two, we don't know the exact details of his injury. We don't have access to his medical chart. We're not really revealing anything about him, but we're taking our best guesses of what's going on and how that could potentially play out, right? And so with that, I was like, this is crazy. Like, first, he was able to finish the game if he broke a bone in his hand. And again, we don't know exactly which bone it was, but we'll speculate. And then 2, and he's not going to miss a game, just 2 series.
Yeah.
And he had surgery. Like, what could it possibly be? So I decided to try to get some. I called in the reinforcements, right? So I called Dr. Jennings, who we've had on the show a bunch of times. It was pretty awesome. And it's like, is that a scaphoid fracture that is fixed? And he's like, that could be career ending. They're not sending him back with if it was a scaphoid fracture.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so all right. So I misfired. And then as we watched the video, probably a metacarpal fracture.
Yeah,
I got to imagine. And probably
I've seen
one
a
in the
good
middles.
amount of metacarpal fractures against helmets. Like helmets are great for breaking hands.
Right.
And I think with that too, again, we can speculate on what we do and don't know. What we do know is that his fingers seemed out and about, very stiff.
Yeah.
But not buddy taped or like casted because he couldn't put a glove on if any of his fingers were taped together or whatever the case was, which you sometimes see with finger injuries. You just tape them to the adjacent finger for stability and protection.
Yeah.
So you would assume it's one of the metacarpals, like we mentioned.
Yeah, probably one in the middle. One of the ones in the middle tend
Right.
to have a little more stability.
Yeah.
And then I think from a surgical standpoint, small incision, really right over where the fracture site is. Put a little clamp on it.
Yep.
Put it one screw across it. Sew it back up. Like it's not a hugely involved process. And typically, like soft dressing, go ahead, go start doing some stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's. In all likelihood, that's probably what this was.
Yeah.
I still feel like not missing a single week is pretty amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that ties into a little bit more of our discussion tonight, too, before we go into it more, is that these quarterbacks across the league are playing with fractured bones.
Yeah.
Becoming the norm, which is going to put a lot of pressure on folks like you and I for the
young guys.
For the young guys, for the high school and college athletes who think they can just play through things.
Right.
But so with Justin Herbert, I would imagine that I assume he's going to be able to play.
So do I.
And something else is interesting that I've noticed in the last couple of years, I say with hand care at least, and metacarpal fractures, is that they kind of, not all the time, this is not everybody, and it's not everyone's protocol, but they kind of been leaving the hands or fingers free out of casts.
Yeah, less is more.
Which is, 10 years ago, it was like you did the whole thing for the most part, and like fingers were included.
Yeah.
Now,
or at least until like that first row of joints. Yeah.
Right. So with that being said, he's going to have it surgically fixed. I assume he's going to be casted while he's playing. He's not going to go out there just with nothing on.
Right. Maybe not casted.
Maybe not casted. Maybe splinted.
With
some 3D technology here.
Could be. We'll get into that in just a minute.
We will certainly get into that too. So I think it's going to be interesting and to see if he does end up playing, which I think all reports. He even said himself, I'm going to be preparing this week like I'm playing.
Right.
So the benefit is that it's Monday night. He gets an extra day. Right.
Yeah.
So he gets 7 days from, operation. And then if you want to play the time game, it's a little over a week time because he's going to be playing Monday night. Assuming he probably got bumped to the first surgery of the day on Monday, got that out of the way.
One of the first.
And went, got all that taken care of and started his healing process maybe by like 10 a.m. on Monday. So he gets a whole 12 extra hours to the day, whatever the case is.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. No pressure, Justin Herbert. I don't need you to make fantasy football playoffs or anything along those lines. So figure it out, buddy. No. So we'll see what happens. And I think it's a lot of speculation, and there's no really reports on what bone was fractured. We're assuming it's a metacarpal. We're assuming it's one of the middle ones.
Right.
I think we can almost confidently say it's likely not his thumb.
Right.
Or out of that, the other four, I would say, are probably in play for the most part.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to be really using that hand too much, and I think with a week of practice, he'll be able to figure out how to grip a ball. Likely not scrambling and stiff-arming people.
Right.
So
good point.
Changes the game plan a little bit because he is on the younger side and kind of not super mobile, but he can move.
He can run.
Yeah, he
fairly well.
He got injured running, so it
right.
makes so.
It does. I haven't been paying close enough attention. I don't know how often he's under center, but if he starts running kind of the play action passes and maybe to a lesser extent kind of RPOs. Like a lot of that has to do that fake and the ability to fake it and to carry out the fake and then to
pull it back
and to pull it back. Yeah. That it could be a factor for that stuff. So I wonder if it changes the game plan a little bit. I honestly think that might have factored into Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers' less than stellar performance this past week.
Yeah. And to I think that's a perfect segue to talk about Aaron Rodgers, who's playing with allegedly multiple wrist fractures.
Is that what it is? We don't know the answer.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I've read reports saying, just a slight break, whatever that really means.
Then I read also severe.
And multiple fractures. I don't think he's had surgery on it.
Right.
But he was wearing a very nice looking, sleek black splint cast on Sunday, and he took a couple shots, and he landed on that wrist, and he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And I think similar to that is something that you may see for Justin Herbert comes Monday night.
Right.
Is, if the Eagles figure out what the heck they're doing, they play some good defense, they tackle him a couple times, it might cause some issues for him in that regard.
Make him less excited to be out there.
Yeah. But Aaron Rodgers missed a week.
Yeah.
He was out for 1 week.
Did miss a week.
Missed a week. And I think that kind of is, I don't know the exact train of thought here. We're not on their staff, but give it at least 10 days to get some calcium bridges started. Some kind of bone healing to not push.
A little bit sticky.
Yeah,
bridging. Yeah.
Add a little adhesive there to kind of get the bones sticking together a little bit.
Right.
So you would hope that would occur, and then you can at least stabilize it some with a cast splint. But he had his fingers out, and he had a nice black up to his hand.
Yeah.
And again, his wrist versus hand is a little different.
Very.
But I think for gameplay for football, the padding and the protective equipment is going to be generally the same.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm questioning what kind of splint Aaron Rodgers had on his hand.
Right.
So I saw that and I was like, oh man, who that reminds me of? Our buddy Kevin Gessman from Protected.
Yeah.
Splinting that we had on way back episode 87.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Aaron Rodgers had a 3D printed thing from them, but man, it sure looked like it.
And it would be, again, we don't know what the fracture was, but kind of the right sort of thing to have in that particular position.
100%.
Right? Yeah. And it's funny that you said that because I was thinking the same thing now. As far as I know, they're not necessarily making casts. I don't know if it was circumferential around the hand and wrist or if it was just one-sided protecting the whole thing. But very, very, very cool concept still out there, still works really well. We're seeing a lot of professional players in a lot of different leagues wearing these splints that they can make and deliver quickly. On time.
I mean, they're up there with that Amazon Prime 2-day delivery from the last.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable what the time. Again, I said that's episode 87. Tonight's episode 139. So that's 52 episodes ago.
Right.
And that's a while ago. I don't know what the date was.
Yeah.
I'm sure their system has gotten better.
Yeah.
Their exposures have grown.
Right.
So Kevin, if you're out there listening, let us know. We'll love to have you back on and talk some more.
Right. And which brings us to the next guy.
The next point.
Right.
To kind of flash forward and flash back, if you will.
Yeah.
Their first ever client or patient, if you will, was Daniel Jones in college because they were college teammates of my knowledge.
Played at Duke.
Or they either played together or they were at least both at Duke at the same time.
And I'm pretty sure they played together.
Yeah. Right. And I believe that he was Daniel Jones was given a AC joint pad or like a clavicle pad splint that 3D made or Protected made way back in their their startup.
Infancy. They probably weren't even protected at that point, but they realized, hey man, we can do something like this. Yeah. But it was Daniel Jones was that first guy. Yeah.
And then ironically, another quarterback playing through a fracture is Daniel Jones playing with a fibula fracture.
As luck would have it.
As luck would have it, right? And then here we are. And then I think this morning or last night, I found a video of someone talking about the splint that he wore, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot the connection of all these things. And that, when we had Kevin on, he was like, I think they were in the beginning of starting like foot and ankle, like prosthesis, or not prosthesis, but like, inserts and like longer splints and other things like that.
Right.
And from the video I saw, he did have some kind of splint going up the side of his leg. It looked pretty nice and protected.
Yeah.
Saw some early videos from him in practice. Did not look super mobile,
right?
Which is a hindrance to Daniel Jones, who can run,
right?
Who could. So it's just funny how all things kind of full circle is that now Daniel Jones is in a spot again where he needs those guys. And calls them, whether the Colts have used them with or without Daniel Jones. Now they're using him.
Yeah.
They get this really nice looking thing from that video. It looked real sharp and real good.
Yeah.
And now he's playing with a fibula fracture.
Right.
Man, crazy that three top of the, all right, Aaron Jones isn't top-tier quarterback anymore, but top-tier quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, doing really well this year, having these issues.
Right.
And guys like those folks that protected are keeping these guys in with their innovative splints and stuff like that, which is just crazy to think about.
Changing the care just a little bit,
right?
Like changing the algorithms. So
changing the care, but then also the trickle-down effect is going to affect someone like me in the college world of like, what do you mean I can't just splint this and play? It's like, well, you could, I guess, if we called the right people, but,
For what it's worth, there's also, there's no reason that, if I remember correctly, that the model is more one of like oftentimes with institutions, right? The protected crazies contacts with the institutions, whatever it is, the Indianapolis Colts, not Daniel Jones in particular, but the Indianapolis Colts, and then they help supply. So, that could be like one way to have access to some of those like pretty cool things that the company like that has to offer. And if anyone's interested, right? It was episode 87, you said?
Episode 87,
Go back and listen.
Go back, check it out.
Interesting, very cool episode.
Yeah, very interesting. And you check out the YouTube video of that. Kevin did bring some models.
Right. To see how it works. He showed us
that's
how
right. We did your thumb live on camera that night.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least for the hands, we kind of went over that. But I think it's interesting to maybe talk a little bit more about this fibula fracture, right? Like,
of course.
How is it possible that Daniel Jones is playing with a broken bone in his leg?
With fibula fractures, there's... the devil's in the details, just like it's with so many other things, right? So with the fibula is the small bone on the outside of the leg, right? Tibia is the big one on the lower leg, and the fibula is the small one on the outside of the lower leg. Tibia supports 80% of your weight. The fibula is only about 20% of the stress. It's not really bearing nearly as much weight as the tibia. You have a tibia fracture, you're not playing. It's just, it's just a different story, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But with the fibula, typically the way we break it down when we're reviewing it, for the most part, if it's below the 50-yard line, so more than halfway down, you're for the most part considering it to be an ankle fracture or a part of an ankle fracture. So you're treating it very differently. So in that scenario, I hate to say, like, he's not playing. However, if it's above the 50-yard line, if it's in the proximal half of that particular bone, it depends on the mechanism, what's associated with it. Like there's one very particular fracture that's associated with an ankle injury. It's a really bad fracture. Well, not a really bad fracture, but it could be a pretty bad injury. Essentially like a really bad high ankle sprain where you tear the ligaments between the tibia and the fibula, and it goes right on up, and then you get this fracture near the top of the fibula. It makes a new fracture. And so if it's that kind of an injury, again, he's not playing.
Right.
But if he took a helmet in the side of his leg and the bone cracked, and it's a little bit higher up, but it's not right near where the nerve. There's a nerve that wraps right around there, the common perineal nerve, where if the fracture's right there, you want to be a little bit more careful. You don't want to injure the nerve. But if it's just like someone hit him in the with their helmet right in the side of his leg, and the bone cracked, and it's above the 50-yard line, that's a pretty stable thing.
Yeah.
Like you can put weight on it, you can walk on it. Usually we'll put people in a boot to kind of protect them.
Right.
If you can protected, right, with a much smaller apparatus or splint than actually putting them in a boot, that will also work. But the weight-bearing portion of the equation is not a problem because so much of the weight is going through the tibia. So really, it's a little bit aggressive treatment-wise, but these guys, they have a little more on the line, right? So lots of times they're going to push it. That's how you get away with having a broken bone in your leg and still being able to play through it relatively quickly.
Actually, I'm going to take a second and pull up my phone here, but I'm talking about these guys especially the Colts, right? Is that I'm pretty sure Sauce Gardner went down this weekend, who was traded from the Jets to the Colts.
Right.
And he went down with a calf injury. That's right. He went down with a calf injury. It doesn't look like when you necessarily he avoids catastrophic injury with a quick Google search.
So more calf,
less Achilles. Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you get nervous about. It's like a vague reporting of his calf. I mean, granted, he walked off pretty not good, but good for assuming it's not his Achilles.
Right.
And again, a team that's going all in this season, right, is the Indianapolis Colts. They caught fire.
Didn't see that coming. Although they've cooled off a little bit in the last few weeks.
Jonathan Taylor's playing great.
Right.
Lights out. Historic season.
Right.
Kudos to anyone who drafted him in the fantasy football world. But then you have Daniel Jones, who...
Rebirth.
Right. Like, man, Indiana Jones is a different beast. Like, whoo! I tell you what, like, from... And then you look at the flip side of it, right? He left the Giants, was signed to the Minnesota Vikings, who's having a lot of trouble in the quarterback room.
Oh, gosh. Trouble.
They had Daniel Jones, they had Sam Darnold, and J.J. McCarthy on the roster last year.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold was lighting it up in Seattle. Daniel Jones is killing it in Indianapolis. And J.J. McCarthy has one of the worst statistical seasons ever.
I don't understand. Injured. It's bad.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was definitely out this past week, but he was out in concussion protocol because he started having symptoms on the flight home from their last game prior to, or whatever the case was.
Oh, he didn't play this past week?
No, Brosner,
oh wow,
I believe played. I had no idea who that guy was. He did not do very good.
Right.
But it's just crazy how you have these guys who are on the roster, and Carson Wentz did okay for them, but he also got injured. He had a really bad shoulder that we talked about a couple episodes ago.
Right.
And now they're scrambling, right? Like they're trying to figure it out. J.J. McCarthy's coming back, and
it is such a good team.
Yeah.
Outside of the key position.
Right.
It seems like, right?
Like you could almost make not any quarterback look good in that system, but you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, even Jalen Aaron Jones,
Naylor, Mason,
Trey Mason, or Jordan Mason. Sorry. Like all those guys are doing really good.
Yeah, defense is good. Like they could be a really good team.
And it just sucks because they're going all in on this on J.J. McCarthy, and unfortunately, he just hasn't held up his end of the bargain.
Yeah.
On paper, statistically, or even like physically and health wise, he just has been. I think it was a high ankle at the beginning of this year.
Right.
Which took him out. The meniscus last year.
It was a meniscus last year. That's right. That's right. And they were repaired. Right.
And he was out for the whole year after that.
And he's like, there's a lot of promise going in, and so you want to protect that investment, relatively high draft pick and whatnot. And it's I almost I don't know if you let Sam Darnold walk. Well, they didn't like the last two games he played there, right? So that made it a little bit easier for them to make that decision because he didn't play well really down the stretch.
Right.
And then also Daniel Jones, no one knew he was going to do this year, right? Like
he didn't have the tape to support his play this year.
Right. So I think with that they're like, well, we got J.J. McCarthy and he's gonna be good. And now we're gonna get him back and he's gonna be healthy. He's gonna light it up. Hindsight 2020, man. Like,
I mean, J.J. McCarthy looked good for the second half of that first game this year, and that was a long time ago.
You would think try to keep one of those two guys. I don't know if the concern was quite simply like you don't want the quarterback controversy when he comes back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but you would think you got to keep at least one of those two guys.
And they had, granted, he's a little older now, but they also had Kirk Cousins too prior to J.J.
Right.
And he did well for them.
Yeah.
Again, a quarterback who's good at managing a team, and you have all-star stud receivers like a Justin Jefferson. Yeah, throw it to him, man. He'll figure it out.
Just get the ball up there.
Right.
Yeah.
But with that being said, those folks that we just named, the Sam Darnolds, even Carson Wentz, Daniel Jones, they had their fair shake. Other places didn't go so well. Look at Baker Mayfield, who's been all around the league.
Yeah.
Now he's finally found some stride. So maybe J.J. McCarthy hasn't blossomed yet, if you will, as a quarterback.
Yeah, no, the story's not over.
No, 100%. I don't think he's going to be, deemed a bust when his career is over. I think he'll have some promise or some spotlight, if you will, in the league.
Look at Geno Smith. I mean,
right.
Like Yeah.
went the opposite, right? Like he did really good last year.
Yeah. But he also came kind of burst on the scene, then was like
Fizzled out.
utter
all over the place.
anonymity, like for I don't know, for how many years? 4 years, 5 years, like
a few years,
maybe even more. And then
I
all
want
of
to
a
say
sudden,
even like close to 8 years.
8 years,
he was
yeah.
just like backup.
And then he explodes on the scene in Seattle.
Yeah.
And not quite the same this year.
Not so much. I don't know what the Raiders are doing.
Right.
I just think in regards to the Raiders, they unfortunately just don't have a well offensive line that's helping them. Like,
Yeah.
I know Genty was a big splash in their rookie draft.
Supposed to be exciting, yeah.
But that poor kid isn't getting more than 1 yard every time he touches the ball without getting hit first.
Yeah.
And it's hard with someone who can make people miss, but he has to make 10
Yeah.
people miss every single time. It's really hard.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good you are
No.
at some point.
No.
But yeah, so it'll be. Like, I'm curious to see how it goes for JJ McCarthy. I'm hopeful for him that he does
Yeah.
turn it around, play better. Not super optimistic based on this year.
Yeah, sample size we have from this year doesn't look that great.
Right.
Unfortunately, he's, I don't know, played maybe is well under 10 games at this rate in his career after 2 years. So
Yeah.
see what happens with him. And then we'll keep an eye on all these broken bones, right? Like we mentioned Justin Herbert already, Daniel Jones, and Aaron Rodgers keeps playing.
Yeah.
I saw some crazy thing that Aaron Rodgers hasn't completed a pass over 20 yards in like a month. Like I think the number was like 36 days, which is crazy. And I before we started, there's ESPN in the background behind the bar, and they had, I think, their last 3 games they've been under 200 yards passing, and just like the wheels are all over the place in Pittsburgh, unfortunately.
Right. It's frustrating. Yeah. As a Steeler fan, it's been frustrating, but I don't think this was like unpredictable. You know what I mean?
Like you kind of went with the let's see if we can get these old guys to go out one last ride, and then these old guys start to get beat up a little bit, and that's
what happens to old guys.
Yeah, it's a young man sport, man. Football is brutal. No matter what position you play, you're gonna physicality to it. I mean, unless you're just a field goal kicker and you're not really touching much of anybody.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think Rodgers actually has had a better season than I had anticipated. I don't want to take that away from him.
No,
and I do think I'm not in the locker room. We have no idea what's going on, but I see moments of leadership on the field.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems a bit much, where he's like yelling at a guy and whatnot. But in general, like ideally, he is kind of being a leader and helping to teach this team, which was, I think, part of the plan in terms of bringing him in. Overall, he's played better. He has played a little better than I had expected, but they just don't have. They don't really have much of a wide receiver core. I think that they
even with DK Metcalf, it's not enough.
Yeah, you need at least one other really or pretty good guy, right?
Yeah.
And so you look at Pickens. Like, why did they purge Pickens? I think they
blowing it up.
And like we all knew that was the talent that guy had. He's unbelievable. He just never really had someone. He didn't have a great quarterback throwing him the ball, or a really good quarterback throwing him the ball. I said way back when, I think that Dak is going to have a good season.
Yeah.
Because look at Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, and it wasn't as good when CeeDee was hurt, but now he's back, and sure, like Dak is just
even Ferguson, their tight end, did really well.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams is another guy who's blowing it up.
He was never bad. He's even good.
He was just one, like we talked about, multi-ligament knee injury tear.
Right.
Takes about 2 years to figure that out.
Came back.
He came back.
You're right.
The 1 year with Denver did okay enough to make him expendable.
Yeah.
Second year, he comes back. He starts to get back to his normal form.
Really playing well.
That's a really good steal, and I hate to give credit to anything Dallas Cowboys, but good job on Jerry Jones to get that guy in.
Right.
And take a little bit of the roll of the dice, right? You got someone who's banged up, but hey, man.
So I think Pickens is a little bit of a head case, and I think that the Steelers were trying to purge that. Like, they have a history of a bunch of players that I think like they go somewhere else, and like you see just how crazy they may be. And it sounds like Pickens has been model citizen in Dallas. Like honestly, he's like, hey, I was immature, I made some mistakes. If that's the case, if he's figured it out, good for him.
Yeah.
That guy's gonna have an unbelievable career if that's the case.
And sometimes, like we've mentioned before, right, it just takes a change of scenery, and people do really well, or they don't, or whatever the case is. And again, for those folks like Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold, or in this case, George Pickens, they're doing great.
Right.
They figured it out.
Yeah. What about one of the best wide receivers that still probably doesn't get enough credit out there?
100% doesn't. Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Detroit Lions went down with an ankle sprain this week. He exited pretty early, got a big old goose egg in the fantasy football world, didn't get any catches at least no statistical point for you on that end.
Yeah.
Goes down on Thursday night which is an interesting case of at least him. Well, good. The bad thing for him, I guess, is that they played on Thanksgiving, but the Lions also play Thursday again. So this is a normal week for them in time for recovery, right?
I did not realize that.
So they're playing again. I think we just mentioned the Cowboys. So the Cowboys and the Lions play Thursday night.
It's a good game.
So last night, if you will, when this comes out. So they have a shorter recovery where most of those Thursday night games either go into, if you get lucky, into a bye week or, Sunday.
Right.
That's a 10-day window that you get, but he doesn't get that. He gets about 7.
1 week.
And it doesn't look like the reports are promising for him to play this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think, Dan Campbell, their coach, was saying that it looks like he's be shocked if he comes out and plays this week.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's also... It's one of those things where
lateral ankle sprain, you can. I wouldn't rule it out. The different degrees of how badly it's sprained, and sometimes you can get back in a week, sometimes you can't.
Right, and sometimes with those guys who are really good and their job is to make somebody miss, if they don't have that agility to their game,
that's true.
They're not that effective, right?
Yeah.
They're just a sitting duck out there.
Then you're like you or me out there running around, not making people miss, not shaking
that too.
them. Right.
And I think Amon-Ra St. Brown has had a good history of being a really good blocking receiver as well. So like generating that power and to block people.
Another good point.
I'm not going to be able to do that with the folks of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in their backfield to make their big explosive plays. So I think it's one of those things where you see, but I'm going to roll the dice and say he doesn't play.
Yeah. If that's the reports we're getting at this point, I think you're right. Chances
now,
are
I mean, granted, again, it is his job to do rehab and figure it out, and there could be just once that 72-hour, give or take, inflammation process runs his course, things calm down a little bit. Sometimes it's like, oh, wow, maybe it wasn't that bad. Tape it up, brace it up, figure it out. Get him out there and see what he's got. But and I would imagine, again, I don't know how it works in the NFL too, but it's like these guys, at least on our fantasy football apps, if they're limited in practice. Some of these guys can not practice or limit practice all week and then go out there and play and be fine.
Yeah.
I think early this season that was the case for Jaden Reed, who was trying to play through that Jones fracture, ended up fracturing another bone in his body, was out for more time, maybe coming back towards the tail end of the season after that collarbone. But I just think it's not going to happen for Amon-Ra this week.
Yeah. Probably not. And then the other factor is, they're going to the playoffs, right? It would be very surprising if they don't. And you just want to make sure that he's ready for a playoff push. If there's any issues or concern or risk of, re-injuring or making it a little bit worse and then delaying your ability to get back and be your full self, when they really
100%.
need you. So I can see a scenario where he does sit.
Yeah, and I think to put it in a quantitative perspective, if you will, it
is a big game though.
big game for them too, right? Could he play about at 75-80% of his full capacity and health? Sure, he probably could go out there, but then he may only bump up to 80% the next week because he's banged up a little bit. Whereas you invest a week, give him a full, what's that going to be, 17 days almost? Because they're going to play Thursday. Then they'll have a long few days. Then they'll get the extra few days. Yeah. And then he'll be almost 3 weeks after an ankle sprain, which is golden
good
window.
Amount of time.
Good amount of time to come back. Plenty of time to get super healthy. Have minimum to no issues with it. Tape it up with a little bit of less tape. That doesn't have to be so supportive and thick.
Right. Limiting.
Then he could go out there and do what he does best. And again, that's another team that has some decent players with Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams? Yeah. I think, what's that guy's name? Isaac Tesla is going to be on the scene now. I was going to say Laporta, but he went out with a back surgery recently, which is crazy.
Man, yeah.
One of those.
Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta.
Oof.
Two really good tight ends on my bench.
Yeah.
On my IR. Yeah, Dalton hopefully coming back.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even check if he had played this week or not. But.
I don't think so. I could be wrong, though. I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't have him in any fantasy football league, so I wouldn't know. No. Have Laporta, though, and he's sitting on the IR spot. Real pretty.
I know.
For the rest of the way, it seems like. And then we can go into a big name for the wide receiver world, not so much for the player yet. Right. Marvin Harrison Jr. Went down 3 weeks ago with appendicitis, had to get emergency appendectomy surgery.
Yeah.
Which is not 100% related to what we're talking about tonight because he went out. He was out for 2 weeks, came back, played,
Sounds about right.
did okay. Then he went out with a heel injury, which is very unfortunate.
That scenario, man.
Right, off for 2 weeks.
Yep.
A little bit of surgery,
Yeah.
a little deconditioned.
Yep.
You're missing a small organ, which again, appendix removal is very normal. Everyone's like, we all know somebody who's done it or whatever.
They happen all the time, and if it's done laparoscopically, so if they get to it early before it's a bigger problem, the bounce back is pretty quick. But like injury now appendicitis isn't an injury, right? It's a whole other issue.
Right.
But injury begets injury. It's like it's the downward spiral.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the deconditioning. It's hard to make up that difference. You kind of rush back, and even if you don't re-injure the same spot, it's the next injury happens. Yeah.
And he's already had a iffy year. I think he had a concussion, missed 2 weeks.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, then the appendix another 2 weeks, so he's missing a decent chunk of time already.
Yeah.
And with the heel, we don't know exactly what it is. Maybe a little plantar fascia flare up, or had an unknown bone spur of some sort that flared up to him.
Yeah.
I doubt it's something crazy like a calcaneus fracture or something along those lines.
I would be very surprised.
So with that being said, he came back for about a play or two, and then didn't look so great and limped off, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So just see what happens.
Stone bruise or whatever.
Yeah.
They call it.
Another person that wasted
His
time.
dad, man, holy cow, he was so good. His dad was also very injured. I don't ever remember his dad not playing.
Yeah, I know.
There was the issue with the gun. I think that was. I don't remember exactly what
Yeah.
transpired, but there was an issue there.
Yeah, but that too, and I think with at least Marvin Harrison, he played with one of the best, Peyton Manning, right?
Right. The Colts, they were quite a duo, man.
That, and I think we just never realized when he was gone because Reggie Wayne bursted on the scene right after him and kind of helped, now
the transition.
Now it's just throwing Reggie Wayne. He's the guy, and then after that was, I think the tail end of that was T.Y. Hilton, and they always had the guy in Indianapolis.
That's right.
And I think T.Y. Hilton got on the injury bug tail end of his career and then kind of became irrelevant as time went on, which kind of happens to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I might be crazy, but I feel like for a little while there, he was like Jerry Rice sort of.
Oh, yeah, he's up there.
Harrison, the Marvin Harrison, the scene. He was so
good.
So good. And like not a huge guy, not important, like just a wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
Like he's a football player.
Yeah. And I think when you're playing with one of the smartest quarterbacks to ever play,
it makes you better.
He just knows where to tell you to go to make sure that you're open.
Yeah.
And he just got to throw you a 50-50 ball, and you're probably going to come down with it, and that's worth it in his regard.
I'll see. We'll see if his son has some of that too. It's still very early, right?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it's just early in general in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s career. Yeah. As someone who's had him the last 2 years in fantasy football, year one was chasing the name, year two was chasing a comeback.
Right.
And it's not looking so great.
Right.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where I think also the Arizona Cardinals are just kind of like, oof.
Yeah.
Year, right? Like Kyler Murray's been out with a foot or ankle, I think, for a while. And I think I saw some reports that they're not opening his practice window from his IR designation, so he's going to be out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
They're rolling with Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
Who just, real under the radar broke the passing record of completions in a game with 45 or 40. Yeah, in a couple weeks ago he made the most completions in a game.
That's that one game where they lit it up.
Well, they got blown out and all they had to do was throw the ball 50 times. So
they also they lost James Conner earlier in the year, and then
Trey Benson went down.
And then even DeMarcado, who looked pretty good when he came in. Like it's
Zonovan or Bam Knight, I think, is the running back now, is also doing okay.
Right.
There's been a hot waiver wire pickup for fantasy football reasons. So we'll see what happens and then go from there.
Yeah, for sure. But exciting one this coming week, man.
Oh, yeah.
Eagles,
man.
Chargers.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I mean, the Eagles got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out fast because, man, it's looking rough. I mean, when you get outscored by the Jets in the last month, it's not a good look.
Is that right?
Yeah, the Jets. I think the stat, I don't know exactly what it is. I want to say the Jets have like 82 points scored. The Eagles have like 75 or something horrible.
I feel like a lot of it's internal. They're getting away from whatever they did that worked due to like some internal.
And I think they're feeling the effects of having a disassembled offensive line, right? Like,
yes,
when I don't know the stats on how healthy our offensive line was last year, but I'm pretty sure they were relatively healthy all season.
Yeah.
This year now you lost Lane Johnson with a Liz Frank Going to come back eventually, maybe, but not be as great for sure. Like, that's a lot of pressure on the foot, whatever foot it is.
Sure.
Changes up front with Lander Dickerson going down early in the season with the meniscus surgery in camp.
Yeah.
Still coming back soon. Like,
Yeah.
hindsight's 2020. Like, would it have helped if they rested Dickerson maybe a couple extra weeks just
Right.
to make sure he's okay? And then he had a back issue, I think, too. I think Cam Jurgens went down with something at one point in time.
Yeah.
So, like, when you rotate that offensive line, it's not that same core five that you had rolling deep into the playoffs last year. Yeah, things are going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
And I don't think most people understand or appreciate that from the outside looking in.
That would be a great thing to look at of in the last, 25 years, taking a look at either Super Bowl contestants, like teams that made the Super Bowl or Super Bowl champions, and then seeing how many offensive line injuries each one of those teams had along the way through the year.
Or
compared
that,
to the rest of because I guarantee, I can't guarantee, but I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Most of the time, it's the healthier one.
It's the healthiest team, yeah. And then
100%.
that's who makes the run. It is pretty. That would be a very cool thing or interesting.
Or
to look
you look at, I know a stat that they like to throw out a lot during game casts or broadcasts is like how many different offensive line lineups or starting five that they had, like how many different rotations.
Yeah.
When you get a team that's probably like under, I don't know, 10 rotations of people, like you're probably pretty good. Where I know there's some teams who've had a lot of like rotation, different faces, different people.
Right.
So there's going to be issues when that comes into play.
If there's one good way to do it, the answer is obvious, right? If there isn't one good way to do it, then you're trying this and trying that and trying this. So it's a poor prognostic indicator if you're shuffling through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious as to what those numbers would look like. We have to find a way. I might find a way to find that out for next time.
Go to our stat guy.
Yeah, we'll find a stat guy and figure that one out. Anything else for the night, Dr. Frey?
No, I'm excited for the possibility of the show that we have coming up.
Yeah,
in
we
a couple
got some
weeks.
good things in the works.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that looks like in the next couple of weeks here to get you guys some more interesting content. So before we go ahead and close out our tab tonight, we're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Virtual Orthopedics and Spine, Runner's Knee and Dog Walker's Hip. They got a doc for that. Yard work, back, and laptop wrist. They have a doc for that too. Virtual Orthopedics and Spine has over 120 providers, over 20 PT and rehab facilities, and more than 25 surgical centers all across South Jersey. So find the right specialist for you at virtual.org/ortho. Neck of the Woods Brewing Company, serving us up the best beer in South Jersey, and Timber Reel Production, helping us get all this media out to all of our followers, subscribers, and listeners. So we appreciate everyone who helps us do this, and we will see you next time, folks.